So let's jump into direct materials. One thing I want to emphasize with direct materials is that manufacturers spend 60 to 70% of their revenue on the stuff they buy from their suppliers. So you really don't want to be at war with your supply base if you want to be successful in the long term, right? So we really, at APD, we like to say that you want to collaborate with your direct material suppliers. They're going to help you be successful. Or if you continue to play like we did back in the 70s and 80s, three bids and a cloud of dust, it's just going to be a continuous horse race. Now, I want to be clear that manufacturing purchasing organizations are coming off of 18, 24 months of just pure hell, right? It's been chasing parts every day, just trying to keep the factories running. Things are starting to open up in some commodities, not all, but some. If you have a lot of electronics, semiconductors going into the goods that you make, you get another year of this. It's going to be 2024 before a lot of those things start to soften up. So I want to talk about two different approaches that manufacturers have taken through this past 18 to 24 months. One is, so let's start with, there's kind of a playbook that purchasing has when suppliers come with cost increase requests, right? The first thing they do is ignore you. Right? You're going to have to ask 3 times as a supplier before you can get the attention of the buyer. The next thing that they're going to do is they're going to stall and delay, right? They've had some success with it. They're going to continue with it. And then when they do grant cost increases, they're going to demand justification. They're going to ask you, let me see the cost details. I want you to be transparent on why you need to increase. Where have your costs increased that you need to increase my prices? Right. And then finally, if they're good, they're going to grant cost increases on a temporary basis, right? Not on a permanent basis. So those suppliers who followed that playbook and have gotten the cost transparency, they're now going back to their suppliers and say, hey, let's take a look at the facts that drove your request for cost increases and see if those facts have changed. Right. And they can have those discussions in a collaborative way. They're not beating their suppliers over the head, but they're saying, you came to us with some good reasons for why you needed cost increases, and let's review if those reasons are still true. Fair enough? Okay, so other manufacturers who maybe didn't have the bandwidth to get that cost transparency because they're so busy chasing parts, well, they still have the opportunity to find suppliers who are willing to compete to win their business. What we're finding amongst our customer base, again, these are manufacturing organizations, is that if they haven't gotten that cost transparency, when they go back to their suppliers and they say, okay, I see that, for instance, resins, I see that a lot of these indexes are turning the other direction. Well, guess what their suppliers are doing? They're ignoring them, they're delaying, they're doing everything they can. Right. And some of that is because they have to make up some ground that they lost. You think about those suppliers who had increasing costs for 3 or 6 or 9 months before their customers granted them price increases. They've got some ground to make up. They feel justified in delaying. So really running strategic sourcing events is going to be key for those manufacturers who don't have that cost transparency. Now you're getting data from the market. You still want to talk to your existing suppliers, but you might have to talk to them with a little bit more competitive market information.